Welcome back to this Let's Play of Kerbal Space Program First Contract. This is episode 9. Now in episode 8 we designed a craft to get Jeb to the Mun, to be the first Kerbal on the Mun, and this is it. Mun Lander Mark 1. A beauty if ever I saw one. Okay, now it's pretty standard, I guess. Okay, right, well, we've had a quick look. Let's get ready to launch. Let's T-key on with the SAS on. Let's throttle up and let's launch away. Now I'm going to use the surface display of Flight Engineer to check out the terminal velocity, which is the ideal velocity we should be travelling at for a given height. So we can see we're just over 100 meters per second. So let's throttle down a little bit. There's no point in going faster than we need to, because we'll just be pushing against the atmosphere. Drag will be then holding us back and we won't be particularly efficient. So while we're doing that, let's keep an eye on our first set of fuel tanks. Our first pair of fuel tanks to drop will be dropped shortly. There they go. Checking out terminal velocity, a little bit higher, but we are a little bit lighter, so our ship should be accelerating pretty well. It is. Now remember, we've got our 3 LVT-45s in there, giving us a good amount of vectoring thrust, and thanks to our tip we are going to start turning over at about 7,000 meters. Now as you can see, our terminal velocity is pretty good compared to our actual velocity, so let's start turning over to our 45-degree vector. Our prograde marker is following us, so we have all systems are go, all systems are nominal, whatever the phrase is. We are looking good. Again, our terminal velocity is getting a little bit ahead of us, so let's keep accelerating. Jeb looks happy enough, so everything must be okay. And I've not been watching. We need to drop those additional fuel tanks, so we did carry a little bit of extra weight when it wasn't necessary. But this is all looking good. Now we're going to go for an orbit of around about 80 kilometers, so we need to keep an eye on our fuel consumption and an eye on our ultimate height. Terminal velocity is increasing, so I think we can accelerate to maximum now and get up the maximum amount of speed we can to make our orbit the most efficient orbit we can get. Should be seeing the stars shortly, show us breaking through the upper atmosphere, and this is all looking quite well, this new design. Keeping an eye on our tanks. There we go. Drop those 2 outer tanks. Now we just have the central tank lifting us. Getting to 60 kilometers. There we go. The stars coming out as we cross into the upper atmosphere and getting ready to kill our engines when we get to 80 kilometers. There we go. Excellent. Brilliant, if I don't say so myself. So let's add our circularization maneuver. There we go. 63. A little bit more, 88 and 72. I think it's just because we are a little bit off on where we placed our 62, 78. That'll do, that'll be just fine. Now again, it's a pretty hefty craft this, so it's going to be a bit difficult to turn, so we better get in position early. Now we've got over 1,000 meters per second. And if we go back to our vessel display, we've not got that in our lower stage. So we are going to lose this lower stage, but that's no big deal. Just means we have less junk clogging up our orbit. So let's get ready. 45-second burn, so we'll start burning probably on 30, because these engines I think have got slightly less thrust, so it'll take us longer to burn off the total delta V. So 20 seconds to go. Getting ready to throttle up. 8 seconds. And there we go, throttle up. Now these 3 LVT 45s will be getting through the fuel pretty sharpish. But I don't think our remaining 4 engines, LVT 90s, aren't they? Or 909s, that's the one, are going to be quite as powerful. So keeping an eye on our fuel, although that's going to be pretty obvious when these engines cut. Make sure we're on our blue reticle. And there we go. Dump the rubbish into the atmosphere, give the KSC a bit of a fireworks display. So 120 odd meters per second to go. We're ready to cut the engines. There we go. Let's have a look at what we've got. 173. Not exactly the best orbit, but it's an orbit nonetheless. So let's prepare to meet our mun. Set the mun as the target, and then I guess around here somewhere we will add a maneuver, pull on the prograde marker and extend the orbit. Not quite far enough. I want to be coming around the back. Let's see if we can get a little bit closer. So that's probably as good as we're going to get by moving that. Let's just extend the orbit a little bit. Oops, no, overdone it. Where are we? I think we've overdone it. Let's come back a bit and reposition. Can't really see. Here we go. Now we're ahead. Yes, here we go. Nice big kink as we come into orbit there. See if we can do a bit better. So we are too far ahead, so we want to come back this way. Now the closer you are in to your maneuver node, the finer adjustments you can make. And putting putting a curb in between us and our target also clears out the glare from the sun. So what have we got? 322. 304, just moving it round a little bit. 294. 287. Oops! Grab the wrong handle. 292. You want to grab not the handle, but the actual maneuver node. Are we actually getting any closer? 291, not that much. So let's give it a 101. 79. Oops! I think that's a little bit close, but we're obviously set a very good maneuver node here. So 46. I won't bother fiddling with any more because we're probably going to have to make adjustments because we won't be, I don't suppose we'll be that accurate on running the node. Now 842 meters per second is actually slightly less than our cheat sheet suggests, which is 860. So I think we've done pretty well there. So it's a node in 17 minutes time. So let's get ourselves lined up. Now our ship's a lot smaller, so it's able to move a lot easier with the capsule's reaction wheels. Now, I did go a long way around the nav ball, then I should have used my enhanced nav ball to know I was supposed to go the other way. So there we are. We're all lined up. Now at the moment we're on the light side, so our single voltaic cells are doing their job, charging. Now you can click on the voltaic cell and it'll tell you the energy flow, the total amount of exposure, and whether it's in sunlight or not, which obviously this one is. But if you go to this one at the back, although it could technically see direct sunlight, it's got no exposure at all. So that one's not doing anything, and this one's probably doing minimal, if anything at all. No, see, that one's not doing anything at all. But at least we've got some charge going into our batteries. So we've got 650 electric charge, and it's trickle charging using that one cell. Perfect. Now we're going to be in the dark for this maneuver, so we may as well switch to map mode. Let's get focus on Kerbin. So double click on Kerbin, so Kerbin is now central to the map. And let's speed up time. Now it's a 53-second burn with these engines. One good thing of doing a burn with your final set of engines is the game engine gets to work out the thrust that that stage is going to have. If you don't do that, the calculation for this estimated burn will be way off. So this should be pretty accurate. So 53 seconds, we should start burning at around 27, 28 seconds. So let's speed up time and get around to, well, let's call it a minute to go. So we've got time to do any final adjustments to our reticule. So here we are coming around into the dark side. Slow down time a little bit. 4 minutes to go. Three. 2. And there's 1 minute to go. So let's now move ourselves into position. Here we go. Quick check on the craft. There you are. Complete darkness. And a little bit of lag. So as you can see, blocked by Kerbin, no energy flow. So let's get back to map mode and we can actually watch as our orbit extends. So we're going to go on 27, slightly early. And then watch as our orbit extends out to this rather S-shaped approach. Probably won't get anything like as exact, but we'll give it a go. So up we go with the throttle. Smidgen late, me there gassing, but we probably won't be that accurate. But we can see as our apoapsis increases, hopefully we should get pretty close. Now 46 is still pretty close for me, but we'll probably end up doing an adjustment at some point. But we did do rather well on the estimated delta V, which was less than the 860 the cheat sheet recommends, so that's all pretty good. Let's keep on the blue reticule. 100 meters per second to go. Let's feather it in. Oh, there we go. A little bit, tiny bit over, and it looks like we're actually going to hit. So we are going to need to do, if we want to save Jeb, a bit of an adjustment. So let's put another maneuver node in here and see whether slowing down a bit will take us out. There we go. Let's go around this side, see if we can see 94, so let's just speed up a smidgen. 31, you see that's even better than we had. 19. Excellent. So we can see our actual path was this rather eccentric path. That's the path we're on now. But when we execute our maneuver of another 16, so we've kind of come up with the cheat sheet's value. Tiniest of burns in an hour and 9 minutes time. So I think we are going to do pretty well. Now I can't really tell from this if we are going to be, whoops, I think we're going to be slightly off inclination, but we can correct that if it becomes important when we arrive. So let's check on our craft. Little bit of a glitch there as the sun shines through Kerbin. Let's just call it shining through the atmosphere. Let's call it proof of gravity affecting photons as the gravitational lens effect takes effect. Now, with any luck, we will get to see Kerbal rise. Not that Hadbart didn't technically... Hadbart? I keep calling him Hadbart. Hadbart. We'll get it right in the end. The other guy. He would have seen that once before. And I think Jeb's seen it a few times. Here we come. Look at that. Brilliant. Silhouetted against the planet. Opportunity for a screenshot. Brilliant. So we have an hour and 8 minutes to go. So lining ourselves up a bit early. And if we check on our electric charge there, you see we've still got plenty of electric charge. Let's get ourselves all lined up. That's what I'm always worried about, losing electric charge, because if you find yourself with no sunlight, there'll be no electric charge to run the reaction wheels. And then you can't turn to get your photovoltaic cells lined up. So perhaps lining up this early wasn't such a great idea. But it does highlight, slap these things all over your craft to avoid that silly possibility. Dumb mistake. I have made that so many times. So another pretty screenshot for the crew quarters, I think. I think Jeb should be recording this for posterity. Can't think it's being videoed by anyone. So screenshots will have to do. So let's speed up time till basically 0 for our node. So that's 50 and get up to 100. So this is ticking down probably once a second. So we're going to be there pretty well. Jeb's all comfortable in the cockpit, in the capsule, just adjusting his headset there. I think he can hear KSC. Certainly hear me babble. So 30, 26, 25 minutes to go of real time. So we're going to go pretty much on 0. Let's slow down time a little bit. Let's go to map mode to see how our manoeuvre pans out. So we're looking to hit this, not hit this. See, here we go, the Mun coming around on its orbit. So we've still got a minute to go, so let's just speed up the last bit of time. So basically we're just going to slow down a bit, let the Mun go past. There we go. So let's just pump in those few meters per second. So there we can see it unwinding, ready to kill the engine. There we go. And delete the maneuver node. 35, that'll do perfectly. We can do some final little adjustments when we arrive. So I think now all we've got to do is wait for the change of sphere of influence. So let's speed up time again to cover the last few million kilometers, however many million kilometers is. 3 hours time. Here we come. Mun's coming around. Looks rather large from this perspective. And still rather daunting. There we go. Excellent. So let's slow down and plan our remaining manoeuvres. Now if we right click the Mun, Is it left click? There we go. Left click the mun. We can focus view on the mun. You can double click it as well. Right, now you can see we were slightly underneath it. So what I think we'll do is just a small manoeuvre here just to adjust our plane of inclination. Does that look about right? Yeah, that's about right. And our new periapsis is I think 35. So if we slow down a little bit. Oh, no. Wrong way. 38. No, we were going the right way. No, we haven't see it coming in. 16. That should be nice. So again, we've got a nice 1 second burn in 8 minutes time. So let's get ready for that. There we go. Still got full electric charge. Still got plenty of liquid fuel. If we get Kerbal Engineer, Flight Engineer up, see we've still got 2,000 Delta V to expend. That should be plenty. So he said. And here we are approaching. Slightly angled down in order to change our inclination, but mostly retrograde to slow us down. So a 1 second burn in 7 minutes. So let's just speed up time again. And we will go on the 1. That's 1 second, that is. There we go. Make sure we're on the button. I think Jeb's going to have a nice view. He seems aghast at the view. This obviously is the first celestial body other than Kerbin that he has been near. Well, soon he's going to be setting foot. So let's get into orbit so at least we're ready for that landing. Whoop! Whoops! Whoops! 6 meters per second too much. I should have been concentrating. Jeb, you should have been concentrating. 10 kilometers. Ooh, 10 kilometers. Oh, I think that'll be fine. That'll be fine. We won't hit anything. I promise. Sort of. I don't think I'll bother correcting that slight inclination problem. Because all we've got to do is find somewhere to land, and we can correct the inclination when we take off. What we've got to do is find somewhere to land. We'll probably land on the light side, make it easy. But let's worry about getting into orbit first. So another manoeuvre node. And just pull it in. Looking for the 2 labels to flip. 66. Just gently pulling on the retrograde marker. Here they go. 9. I don't want to go down too far. 9 and 11. Don't really want to go down too far. 11. Still 9. I think I've gone too far the wrong way. We want to be right on the apoapsis, right on the periapsis, sorry. Let's get right in there. There we go. 9 and 11. 9 and 10. Well, it's almost 10 and 10, isn't it? Give or take. Yeah, rounding errors and all that. We are pretty close to the surface. Now I think I'm going to do an F5 at this point, and then if I mess anything up, it'll be all Jeb's fault. Wasn't concentrating. Always blame somebody else. So let's get ourselves lined up on the blue reticule, and we've got an hour and a half of real game time to pass. So I think it'll be a game of patience, if you can play patience in space. All the cards flying away. Here we go. I think that looks all pretty well lined up. Jeb, pass the time. because we're going to speed up time in the meantime. So we've got a 12-second burn, so let's go on 6 seconds. Approaching the Mun now. You can see that large crater and canyon. Might have to investigate that at some point, but not today. Let's not overdo the speeding up time. We want to whiz past our manoeuvre node. There we go, 30 minutes. Going to go into the dark side. As long as we don't go over to the dark side, we'll be fine. 10 minutes. 1 minute. There we go. Slam on the brakes as far as the time acceleration goes. And another one for the album. Beautiful. And here we go. Drop the throttle, bleed in the last of it. There we go. Beautiful. So let's have a look. What have we got? 4. Ooh, oh dear. Oh dear. I think we need to correct that. Of course we could go straight for a landing, but I am not that brave. So I think a little squirt on the prograde will just push out the orbit a little bit. There we go. What have we got? 9 and 10. Look at that. It's flickering because it's almost perfect. Oh look, we get to go right over that canyon. Or a canyon. Now there's one canyon, that's the one we were looking at earlier. We get to go right over this one. But that looks a bit, well, I was going to say it looks a bit rocky. I think we will go for a landing somewhere here. So let's just F5 and admire the sight. So I think I'm going to end the episode here with Jeb admiring the sun, Kerbal, over the surface of the Mun. I'd like to thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again soon. Take care. Bye bye.